My name is JP Kealey. Train here at Elite Performance Academy in Canada, Ontario, and I play pro lacrosse for the New England Black Wolves. When I first got injured, I was pretty devastated. So the kind of started the whole thing of my injuries and kind of the adversities I faced was my sophomore year of college. I tore my ACL 2 weeks before our season, and I obviously never torn my ACL before. This was the first time, but I'd heard about it and seen it in sports and all that kind of stuff. So once it happened, I kind of knew what happened, and I was devastated. I remember screaming on the ground, not because it hurt, but just because at that point I kind of knew that my season was taken from me. So first time I met with Donnie would have been after the second time I tore it. I decided at that point, after I'd had my first surgery, I retore it. I decided I was going to try and play on it, and I came to Donnie. We have Christmas break before our season in the NCAA, so we had a couple weeks at home. So I spent 3 weeks here with Donnie prepping for the season, and made leaps and bounds, doing things that I didn't think I was capable of doing with the torn ACL, meniscus, and torn MCL. So I talked to Donnie a lot, and he was a great mentor for me, having gone through some similar adversities. So he was a great tool for me to use, and I kept coming back to him for bits and pieces of motivation and advice and all that kind of stuff. And since then we've built a great friendship, and he's been a great mentor of mine. Continued to to give me lots of good advice and get my body right here in the gym. Honestly, it really exceeded my expectations. The biggest improvement I saw was after I tried playing on my with the torn ACL and meniscus and all that. I made it pretty far. Made it a couple months, and then after our first game of the season, my body kind of fell apart and got to the point where I couldn't do that anymore. And at that point, I got another surgery, and I made the decision kind of to go after. Trying to be drafted and achieve my dream of being a pro lacrosse player. So, I came in here with Donnie. I worked with him for pretty much a full year. It took me about 15 months to get back from my second surgery, as opposed to my first one where I came back in 6. And it was a real tough time for me personally. And Donnie did a really good job of putting the right exercises in place and building the right muscle groups, and it allowed me to see progress every day. So even when I couldn't, the thought of playing at that level, and the thought of being back to where I was, even though it was so far away, every day I was able to improve and able to see myself grow in little bits, that it was able to give me that little piece of motivation, that light at the end of the tunnel. So it honestly was some of the proudest moments I've had is here in the progress I've made, not just getting back, but going from not being able to walk to not being able to squat, to now I'm running, to now I'm sprinting, to changing directions, to all that kind of stuff. And just everything that went into that, and all that work in here is that's what really gave me the confidence to come back and to get back out there on the field. He always motivated me. Like I said, he's been through some similar adversities, and he always gave me bits and pieces of what he went through. And if I had questions, because your body feels a certain way, you feel some clicks or certain things that are going throughout the process, you're always curious as to why your body feels a certain way, or to what's kind of going on in there. So it's always good to have someone there to ask questions, to be like, did this kind of things happen to you, or how did you prevent this? What kind of things can I do in order to get this muscle group stronger, or to be able to do this better. So he gave me a lot of support and knowledge based things, because he went through the same things, so the way he was able to transform me, physically, it was amazing. And then, he's whatever I need him for, whether it's advice, on the field, advice off of the field, he's always there for emotional support, all that kind of stuff. He's been a great mentor of mine. So. the thing that impacted my career the most, I honestly think, was getting hurt. I think that was a kind of a turning point in my life. Changed who I was completely. I changed, the way I thought, the way I looked at life, the way I looked at sports. I changed my body. I changed my drive, and my willingness to do anything I can to achieve my goals. And I honestly, it's one of those things where people, shitty things happen in life, and people look at adversities in a negative way, or something bad happens. That positive and negative spin, that's all perception, right? It's only a negative situation if you allow it to become a negative situation. And I feel like there's those adversities I faced, I allowed them to change who I was, because when those kind of things happen, you're kind of setting the standard for your life and who you are as a person when you face those problems, right? You can go down one way and give up on things, and it's pretty easy to do when that kind of shitty stuff happens, or you can completely change and go in another direction and kind of attack it head on and kick its ass. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love about coming in here is that it's a great atmosphere. Donnie's a very personable guy. He's fun to hang out with. He has a good time in here, and he's one of the guys where similar to like coaches. He's one of those coaches you don't want to let down, right? So we come in here, we know what our job is, we know we're in here to work hard. So he doesn't have to get in our face and all that kind of stuff. We don't want to let him down, and he's always there, to build us up. He's always there, being like, getting in our face, being like, you can do this, you can kill this set, all that kind of stuff. And he creates that fun atmosphere that wants us to come back. Me and Jacob talk about it all the time. Like, this is like our social circle. This is the best part of our day is coming in here, the atmosphere that we have, and the people that they have in here. It's hard not to elevate your level when you're in here with a bunch of like-minded people who are trying to get the best out of themselves. So, I mean, it's the atmosphere that he's created in here that really keeps bringing you back.